So in this segment of the podcast, I want to get into a little history of who Pearl Jr. is. First of all, I want to specifically state that Pearl Jr. is by no way, shape, or form a Michael Jackson fan, although she may tell you that she is. And we as moonwalkers, we tend to hold dear those people who consider themselves to be fans of Michael Jackson, based on, how they relate to Michael Jackson. Well, my Pearl Jr.'s relativity to Michael Jackson is only her involvement in his trials, his sex allegation trial that he went through back in 2005. Now, she would have most people to believe, she would try to get most people to believe that she was credentialed media. Credentialed media. Those are just, that's just a play on words to get people to think that she's relevant, as far as media is concerned. But we all know, as Michael Jackson fans, that Michael despised the media. Although he would, do interviews with certain people, and he was reluctant to do interviews at all. We know that, he despised members of mass media. So she would have people to believe that she was credentialed media at his trial, even though she was not in the spots where, quote unquote, credentialed media was. CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox News, all of those people were in one general spot when she was in totally a different spot. That's neither here nor there. I'm just giving you the basis of her relevance, which is irrelevant. Anyway, she was, a media spokesperson at the time, and she may or may have or may not have covered that trial, to an extent to where she reported on it to who, I have no idea. But, all the information that, she was putting out, whether she was putting it out at all, you could have got that information from mass media, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, so on and so forth. So she was irrelevant. And, of course, she's not a fan to actually be impartial to believe, to actually, think that Michael Jackson would be guilty of such heinous crimes as child sex abuse. We as Michael Jackson fans were not impartial to it. We knew it was bullshit. We knew what they were putting him up against, because they had an agenda to, silence him or to take him down as an entertainer. We all knew that was bullshit. So partiality has nothing to do with the fact that we know he wasn't guilty of any of those things. What he was guilty of was being an humble servant, to sick and disadvantaged children. And he was taken advantage of by a select few who he let into his life outside of him being an entertainer. Now, Pearl's relativity to Michael Jackson also continued after his passing in 2009. Now, from 2005 to 2009, her relevance was minuscule. She didn't do too much as far as, being involved in the fan community at all. She wrote a book or two. I didn't get it. I didn't even pay attention to none of the stuff she was doing until she popped onto the scene back in, I think it was 2010 or 2011, when she had a Netflix documentary out called Suicide. Did Michael Jackson fake his death to save his life? She popped back on the scene at that moment with, this debauchery of a documentary. And this is actually where the death hoax started, because she drummed up a fan base, or a following, if you will, based on derogatory information on what Michael Jackson possibly could have did to fake his death, behind all the stuff that he was going through prior to him dying. But that's not where she took on the death hoax. That's just where it got its it was planted. It got its root from this particular documentary. But where it started to flourish is when she became part of a chat site that Mr. Bobby Anderson created, called Jackson Empire. Jackson Empire was actually Jackson Empire was created after the passing of Michael Jackson, and it was a spinoff of a chat site that was called the Michael Jackson Neverland Kingdom, that was actually started to support Michael Jackson during his trial, during the time of his trial. It was a group of fans from across the country and around the world that got together on a particular platform called Pal Talk, and the chat site was created, and it gained popularity as Michael got acquitted. After he got acquitted in his trial, it gained popularity then. The actual chat room from that platform, when Michael was acquitted, crashed the server of the platform when he was acquitted, because it was like the world was in that chat room. And actually, at the time, it was the only chat room that had a Michael Jackson theme. They had categories where you can go into ethnic groups, languages, music, genres, and so on. It was just a platform, a chat platform, where you could just pick and choose where you wanted to establish your chat site. And so this particular chat room was in the music category. And it was the only one on the entire platform that had a Michael Jackson theme. So when Michael Jackson was acquitted, everybody flocked to that chat room. You had people who supported Michael Jackson came in there, that had never been in there. Then you had people that, thought that Michael Jackson was guilty and came in there, and they crashed the server. I'm giving you the history of two things: the history of Pearl Jr. and the history of Peter Midani too, because he was part of this this intuition that started this death hoax trash. And I forgot who his name was, but in the last segment, but in this segment, I remember this name. It was Peter Pan PYT. And that's who he went by. This Peter Midani thing, I don't know where that came from. It probably came from, something he picked off from Peter Pan PYT. But we'll talk about Peter Midani later. But Jackson's Empire was a spinoff, actually an upgrade from Pal Talk's platform, because it was on its own server. Jackson's Empire was. And it was a chat site, and it was actually a fan blog where, lots of fans got together and, shared in the interest of Michael Jackson. Okay. This is where Pearl actually may or may not, and I don't have any evidence or proof of this, but these are just my personal opinions. This is where Pearl Jr. may or may not have, gained access to Peter Midani, Bobby Anderson. She had been a member of Jackson's empire, and she paid attention to the fan following that Bobby Anderson had. First of all, Bobby Anderson actually sounds like Michael Jackson. If you pay attention to how he talks, well, he actually presents himself to sound like Michael Jackson. So that created a following, and this following was around well before Michael Jackson passed away. So he had this following, and many, many people, the majority of them being female, would actually think that this dude was Michael Jackson. There was no doubt in my mind that I knew that this fool wasn't Michael Jackson. I didn't even know who he was, but I knew this wasn't Michael Jackson, but that's neither here nor there. But he would, come on to this chat site, and he would, woo these female followers into believing that he was Michael Jackson. Well, Pearl happened to be one of those that he influenced. The only thing about it was Pearl created her own agenda based on what she thought may have been a death hoax. And that's how all of this got started. Now, mind you, this is just my opinion. She would probably have you tell you otherwise, but I know for a fact that she was there, and I know for a fact that she knew the following that this dude had on that chat site, Jackson Empire, and it was dollar signs to her ears, what she was hearing. So that is kind of like how this fascination with Bobby Anderson being Michael Jackson in the present started. This is how all of this started. And what ended up happening after that is that these two got together and concocted some bullshit agenda to say that, yeah, Michael Jackson faked his death, and this is who is going to be Michael Jackson in the present tense from that point to where they concocted this agenda. Now, this will happen to be maybe 2012, 2013. And I say that with relevance because it was 2014 that I actually seen the Jacksons in concert when they started their world tour in Las Vegas. So this was prior to that. So I would probably say maybe 2013 to be on the safe side, but it was in somewhere in between 2012 and 2013. And so, they concocted this whole thing about a death hoax. And that's where it all started from. Now, mind you, Pearl Jr. is not a fan. She was never around during the time that, during the interim time after Michael Jackson got acquitted until the time that he passed away. She was never around fan clubs and fan bases like that, like the fans were. The fans were interactive with, fan blogs and social media at the time. And she would be, she wouldn't be, in the midst of that, as she's not a fan. Mind you, she actually had, she would never attend fan-based events. Now, ever since the passing of Michael Jackson, there's always been some type of, physical fan-based event somewhere in this country. I've been to quite a few of them. And Pearl has never showed up to any of them. Well, that would kind of be more of the relevance of a death hoax when you don't attend Michael Jackson fan-based events. But I digress there. And, Pearl doesn't even have, the only thing she has is an internet following, okay? She doesn't have a connection to her internet followers either. She has, if you are someone that's trying to promote something, right, you want to have a connection to the people that you're trying to promote it to, such as the public. But the people that follow her has no connection to it. The only connection that they have to her is a post office box to where they can send in their money if they don't have the wherewithal to do it digitally over the internet. And for those rabbit-ass DVDs that, she's out there with talking about Michael Jackson is alive. Now, mind you, this mess was created for the believer to gain some insight on why Michael Jackson faked his death. But it's so stupid to even comprehend some of the things that she put in those DVDs, because most of the stuff she put in those DVDs is stuff that's already been talked about and other death hoax forms that are no longer around. The death hoax started with about maybe, I'd say, over 50 different sites when it started. And the majority of them are gone. That was just something that blew away like a fart in the wind. They gone. That's over with. But she continues her agenda and her ignorance with stuff that's already been talked about. Nothing has been proven. Nothing has been shown. And she even went as far as to say when Michael would come back, which is how this Peter Midani dude gets thrown up in the mix like that too. But she's done it on numerous occasions about when Michael would supposedly come back. And then when that date comes, she's looking stupid, and she'll go back and, try to clean up why he didn't come back. You know what I'm saying? And she even went as far, listen at this, y'all. She even went as far as to say that she actually talks to Michael. She actually talks to Michael, and, he's, confided in her that he's alive and doing well. You know what I'm saying? She actually said this shit on a live. You think that this woman is sane? This woman is, look, let me tell y'all something, man. I said in the beginning, that first segment that I did, I said that I wasn't going to talk about this woman, and I'm not. God bless this woman. You know what I'm saying? For her to have the wherewithal and the audacity to do what she's doing and thinking people believe that stuff. Now, I'm going to take you to the present tense of what she's doing with this Osei Jackson character who claims to be a relative of the Jacksons. I said in an earlier segment that none of the Jacksons actually go outside of a forum to do interviews with anybody, much less the mainstream media. Pearl is not the mainstream media. She's just a form of social media that she broadcasts on and would have you to believe that she is, quote unquote, credentialed media. She's not. But I said that to say this. The Jacksons have no interest in doing, interviews about anything, especially when it comes down to stuff, just as ignorant as the death hoax, right? This is their brother, their uncle, their cousin, their close relative that they're talking about, and they're not going to do that. So here's an individual that, pops up out of the blue on Facebook and says that he's going to clear all this up. He's going to clear up the death hoax. He's going to clear up everything that has his family, being harassed. And, he's tired of it, and the family is tired of it, and he's going out in public to do it. If this isn't, the basis of bullshit, I don't know what is. I don't know what is, because a fan that has followed Michael to this point, almost 12 years since his passing, and they followed Michael while he was alive, you would know bullshit when you hear it, bullshit when you see it. And that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. O'Shea Jackson, the common formal government name of Ice Cube. So that actually has to be a second O'Shea Jackson, which happens to be the relative of a celebrity, of the greatest entertainer of all in the Jackson clan. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not, but what I'm saying is it's not that individual that's going forward with information on how to stop people from harassing his family. Okay? So all this is just a ploy to get people to tune in. That's all this is. Tune in. Now she's all over the internet talking about, I'm going to do this. I've been having long conversations with a Jackson family member. Now, she used this play on words before. You remember when she said that, she was at Joe Jackson's funeral around Jackson family members? Okay, Joe Jackson's memorial at Forest Lawn Cemetery was basically a public event. Anybody could have drove up there. They didn't have it cordoned off like they had Michael's memorial. They didn't shut the cemetery down so they could have the memorial. It was a public thing. It was just privately set in the place that Joe is at. But you could have drove right up there to where he's at when they had the memorial. So what do you think Pearl did? She drove up there. And see, here's the thing that she banks on. She banks on the listener or the follower to not know anything. But I doubt if there are any other followers in L.A. I'm not a follower of hers, but I'm in L.A. So the moves she make, I can make those same moves. The things that she know, that she banks on people not knowing, I know those same things. You understand? Because that's her way of making that dollar. That's her way of making a dollar. Fake news is what all this shit is. But I digress. She has gone to these extremes to, promote this death hoax shit, and it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And, I'm making these podcast segments, to prove one thing, that she hasn't proved nothing. And at the end of, this particular podcast, my question will be very clear. Since you say we can't prove that he's dead, and that's what she calls us, the haters. And my side note to that, my disclaimer for me being a hater is that if I'm living off the truth of knowing Michael Jackson is not here anymore, I'll be glad to be a hater. Thank you very much. But she says that we cannot prove that Michael Jackson is dead. So I'm going to retort that with a question to her. Can you prove that he's alive? I don't want to hear the shit about you got clues and this basically states that Michael is alive. No, dummy. Show us proof. We need DNA, physical, living proof that this man is alive. Not we, the people that you targeted to make your money. So on their behalf, I'm asking the question, can you prove he is alive? You spend all your time saying that we can't prove that he's dead. I mean, we don't need the evidence to show he's dead. We don't need the evidence to show that he's not here. Where is he? So that's not even an argument with us. Those who know that he's not coming back. But what is the argument with you who claims he is alive? No proof, no evidence, no visual sightings, no voice matching, no nothing. Just a group of badly placed internet clues formed together into a snowball of a DVD, and then charge people to gain that information to not know that the man is still alive. You got to be the biggest fool in the world to actually believe and think that people will pay for that mess. Now, those who follow you and don't know no better would pay for that mess, but you actually believe it.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
And she's just on that kick about this Peter dude, or this Bobby Anderson being Michael Jackson. She's on that kick. She just, I can prove that he's Michael. Come on, man. Come on. Now, here's what I'm willing to do. Since she won't do it. This is the research she should be doing, but this is the research I'll do on my own to prove that this dude is not Michael Jackson. I'll go to where he's at. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Why don't you just go to where he's at and show him and show your followers, show your listeners, that have no connection to you, that he's Michael Jackson. Just go to where he's at. You know where he is. Just go to where he's at. And videotape him on camera and prove to everybody that he is Michael. Go back and ask him anything about his childhood, anything, because this is Michael living in a fat suit, right? Go back and ask him on camera anything about his life. And if he can't prove it, that's not Michael Jackson. Right? So I'll do it for you. I'll go to where he is and I'll prove to your listeners, your following, that he is not Michael Jackson. Right? So now the ball is in your court. The burden of proof is in your corner. Before I get to him and find out he's not, you need to get to him to prove that he is. Let's see how far this goes. Now, see, the bullshit is over about jumping on the internet trying to prove something. If you want to prove something, why don't you prove you have a relationship with the person you claim that you engaged to? Since you running around, whole strong over a dead celebrity. Prove that. Okay. I got a little personal there. I didn't mean to, but this is where it's going. You understand? And me and Pearl have had these conversations. These arguments, because I'm a hater and she thinks that since I don't believe what she's pushing, she's in the process of, just demoralizing me. And you can say whatever you want to say about me. It's not, gonna hurt me no bit. But anyway, I'm going to do a last segment about all of this and give you a synopsis on, what needs to be done at this point, because she's going a little bit too far. Stay tuned for my last segment on the ignorance of Pearl Jr. And so after a little bit of time of Pearl being, irrelevant, I mean, she's always been irrelevant to the MJ fan community, but to be irrelevant to her followers and her minions, here's all of a sudden all of this extra. I'll just leave it to you to be light, or to use light of a word, all this extra that's come about that she's involved in. And it's all, pin-up bullshit to make her seem relevant again. The jig is up for her, and she knows it. So now, out of the blue comes this O'Shea Jackson, who's mentioned that, he's been harassed by certain people in the fan base, and that he's going to put a stop to it and do live videos and so on and so forth. It's just the biggest crock of bullshit. And I guess she thinks that, people in the fan community are too, caught up in Michael Jackson to even believe to, have that pass as, valid information. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Nobody in the Jackson family is coming out with a defense on anything. The only family member that is frontal and vocal about, issues regarding Michael Jackson himself is Michael Jackson's nephew, Taj Jackson. And, he's, trying to, do this documentary to levitate and demolish the movie Leaving Neverland. And, my personal opinion about that is I don't think Taj should do a documentary because, first of all, it's not going to get picked up by mass media. But then again, making that film, it'll be up to us to, spread the information on social media, because that's how it will get put out. It'll be up to us. And, we are so into stupid stuff that, we'd have to be committed and dedicated into getting it out. And I think it's a possibility, but, I don't want to get too far off into that. This is about Pearl and what Pearl is doing to make herself relevant to her following now, because she's never been part of the fan base. She's never been part of the fan community. So, that in itself speaks volumes when, you trying to get through to the fan base and we see you for the bullshit that you're about, but I digress. And so this O'Shea character who states that, they're relative to the Jackson clan and has exposed himself around Jackson family members, which is totally dangerous, if you ask me, is now in a position to give Pearl an interview as if she is a celebrity. Now, let me tell you what Pearl did not too long ago. Well, I said about a year ago. She actually went on social media and went on this internet radio show as if it was, a reputable, followed, and said that she talks to Michael Jackson and Michael Jackson was still alive. And wait a minute. She actually said that Michael Jackson was going to call into this show that night. Right? So, the radio show was a call-in radio show too. The host was actually putting out the phone number for people to call in. So, I guess the excitement, drew about, the radio show, and they pumped it up. They hyped it. Pearl and the host of the show, they hyped it up. And it got to a point to where when he answered the first phone call, he thought the first phone call would be Michael Jackson. Now, he didn't have an assistant, vetting the phone calls. So when he answered the first phone call with him thinking that he was getting ready to talk to Michael Jackson, the phone call was me. And, I'm petty like that, right? So I said, hello, in this voice that you listening to now. I didn't try to mask my voice to sound like Michael Jackson. I was like, hello, I am Michael Jackson. And all hell broke loose on that show. He ended up hanging up on me, but Pearl went in defense mode and said who I was because she knows me. She knows, she knows I know what she doing is bullshit, and she knows that I'm out to stop it. So she went into full defense mode, and boy, you talking about something that was hilarious. Oh my goodness. That's totally hilarious. That shit. That when he answered the phone, thinking that he was finna be talking to the Michael Jackson, who had been dead, who had been dead all these years, and done came back. And can you imagine what it would feel like to answer the phone and I'm on the other line? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But, God bless that woman, man. Because she's, over these years, she's provided a lot of entertainment, to the fan base, albeit bullshit. But, that's just the character that she is. You know what I'm saying? And she lives on the fact that, she believes Michael Jackson is alive, and she's willing to go to extremes to prove to those who will believe the shit that, he's alive. And it's a sad state of affairs because a lot of people in the fan base, a lot of people that love Michael Jackson, they still grip with the loss. They still deal with the loss. And, albeit, Michael Jackson was unknown to the majority of the fan base, people had that divine connection to him. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's right, to capitalize off people's grief. I really don't. And that's why I'm here. It's why I'm doing these podcasts for one. And, putting myself in the forefront, to go at this woman. Now, I'm here in L.A. and she's here in L.A. And, time and time again, I've offered to sit down and have a decent conversation with her. As petty as I am, I can have a logical, conversation to see why she does what she does. But see, here's the thing. She won't come to a forum, or a platform to speak on why she does what she does, because she knows what it's about. It's about capitalization off a dead celebrity's name. Where was she at when this man was going through what he was going through before 2005? This is not nothing new. Things that were going on, things that were going on in Michael Jackson's life. It's not nothing new. You understand? But she was dead set on capitalizing after Michael's untimely passing, to where it became a full-fledged onslaught of going after that dollar when she found out there was somebody who sounded like him and could draw an audience. And she went after him. And whatever happened, in the midst between Michael Jackson's Neverland Kingdom and the start of Jackson's empire to where they at now, it happened between those two, and they actually built up an agenda now. there's, also some things that's in the works and to stopping, this Bobby Anderson cat and doing what he doing. And, I would like to have a conversation with him too, to see why he does what he does, because he's another one. He's somebody that has never been seen, has done, only following he has is an internet following, and he's not engaged with his listeners and his followers, Now he's actually claimed, to be Michael Jackson at some point, but he got off that kick and went, when his ass was found out, he got off that kick and then, did some other things, but he still acts as if and portrays the sound, the voice of Michael Jackson. So, and he has no connection, no connection to his following. Nobody could talk to him. Nobody could get in contact with him. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about the dollar with him too. And I'll do a podcast, a different podcast about him later, to go into detail about who he is. But it's all drummed up and it's all situated into them capitalizing off this dead celebrity's name. So in that mode, I'm just the one who is here to stop the debauchery and to keep this man's legacy, whole, keep this man's legacy alive in his absence, because we all know he's not here. And getting back over to Pearl, she's done enough. She's done too much. She's done way too much. And it's not damaging to the fan community, it's just annoying as hell. I can't put it in words how annoying she is to this fan base. She pops up with these, ignorant ass videos on YouTube, and it's just one lie after another one. And, she calls them clues. But who validates these clues? Nobody validates these clues, And she believes this stuff. She wholeheartedly believes this stuff. And we are moonwalkers, and we will defend this man from head to toe, and we will defend his legacy in his absence. He doesn't deserve it. His children doesn't deserve it, and his family doesn't deserve it. So why are we as moonwalkers allowing this to happen? This is the reason why I come to you with this podcast, to give you some information, and to soak it in, and to help come up with solutions to rid this, virus of a woman in this fan base. And so with that said, I'm going to end with this. Neverland is physically not here anymore. But Michael Jackson created Neverland to live within our hearts. And we continue to spread that, what Michael Jackson created, and LOVE. Until next time, I want y'all to take care of each other and tell somebody you love them. That's the way we keep Michael Jackson's legacy alive. We are moonwalkers, united. I am Stefan.